Hey everybody, how you doing? This is about to be a really fun video. One of the most common questions I get asked literally every single day is, hey man, I just got this WHOTEEWHO slinger, I got this new Bing Bang, what type of ammo should I feed it? What is going to work the best? So what I tell people every time, it's not a cookie cutter thing. I can't just sit here and tell you what's going to work best. Really, you really need to try it out. Unless I've already filmed one that you're asking about, then I can point you to the video proof of, hey, we tried this 7mm 08 and it really loved the core-lokt, or it really loved whatever, you know what I'm saying? If I have video proof actually testing the exact thing you're asking me about, by all means I'll shoot you that video link, because that's just the facts, Jack. I can tell you because I've already done it. But if you ask me something off the wall like, oh, I've got a Tika 3X yada yada competition, what is it going to fling the best and get the best groups? I'm going to say, I really have no clue, but I can tell you what's works best for me out of my WHOTEEWHO slingers, but I can't really tell you what's going to be best because I haven't tried it. So really, all my experience of filming all this stuff, at this point I've filmed thousands and thousands of videos. We've been doing this for a long time. What I have found that matters the most is the grain weight. So what this video is going to be on is my 30-06, and I'm going to feed it 2 different grain weights, and I know for a fact one is going to do better than the other. This is my Ruger American. This is my 30-06. I grabbed the wrong one. I could have just kept it up there. They look exactly the same. They even got the same scope on them. This is my Ruger American 308. I know for a fact that it likes 150 grain projectiles the best, does the best groups. So if I grab a 150 grain off the shelf, chances are it's going to do pretty decent, especially decent enough for, you know, deer hunting. Might not put them all in the same hole. For 150 grainers, it definitely will prefer one over another, 150 over 150, but I found over the years this Ruger American likes the 150 grain projectiles. What we're going to test today, which I've never done before out of this thing, where are they at? I got some that are not 150 grainers. That being, stuff I could find was 180 grain. These are both Remington core-lokt tips. 180 grain and 165 grain. You can see that these are the 165s and these are the 180s. So I already know going into this video that this Ruger American likes 150 grainers, and I'm going to feed it stuff that I know it doesn't necessarily like from previous testing, a 108 grain and a 165 grain, and I'm going to presumably show you video evidence it's going to like the 100 or one over the other. My guess is it's going to like the 165s better than the 180s, simply because 165 is closer to 150, which I already know that it likes the best. So for me, when I go looking for more WHOTEEWHOs for my Ruger American 308, hey, if they have it, I'm going to pick up the 150s because I've already known and tested myself. I've gone through the ringer with tons of different types of ammo, and I know, and if I forget, I'll go back to the older videos of what did that thing like the best. But we're going to sling 180s and 165s in this video and just see what it likes best. My guess is, again, it's going to like the 165s better. So let's head out to the range, see what happens, and then I'll measure them with the calipers and we'll talk about it for a second. But I'm thinking 165 is going to do better. Let's check it out. Let's go to the range. Alright, I'm going to do the 180 grain first. Let's do 2 3-shot groups. And just see what we do. Really slow down, try to do this thing justice. Like I said, I've had really good luck out of this core-lokt tip stuff. But we're going to see what my Ruger American likes better. The 165 grain, the middleweight, or the heavyweight, the 180 grain. So these first 2 groups, 180 grains, 100 yards here. 2 more. So far, it's not like the heavier weight stuff. This Ruger American's not. But let's do 3 more. See if it'll do any better. Yeah, good enough to take a deer at 100 yards, but definitely not putting them in the same hole. Let's try the 165 greeners. If I was going to bet on it, I'd say it probably likes the 165 better, maybe the 150 even better, but we don't have the 150 out here today. Let me double check this camera, make sure it's still good. Camera's still good. Let's try the 165s at 100 out of this Ruger American and see what happens. Do the same thing, 2 3-shot groups. That one definitely was a better group than the 180 grain. If I didn't tell you, this has got 16 zoomies on it. This is just a Walmart Bushnell banner. Pretty affordable scope. And that second one opened it up a little bit. Yeah, the barrel's hot, but we did pretty good with that first one. I tell you what, I'm gonna let that barrel cool, and I want to do a cold barrel 3-shot group with these 165s because that group before did pretty decent there. So be back after a second. 3 more 165s after cooling down here. Alright guys, so back from the range, and I'm kind of half smiling because literally what I thought was going to happen or predicted would happen between these 180s and the 165s out of my 308, that's literally what happened. So first we did the 180 grainers. Good enough to take deer groups, but nothing to write home about or show your buddies about. So here's one of the 180 grain plates we did. I measured the groups with my calipers. 2.70 inch groups. At 100 yards, if you're aiming for the deer's center of its lungs, you would take that deer, but nobody would call this a good group or precision group. Because of the testing that I've done, I just know that Ruger American doesn't like the heavier 30 caliber bullets. Then the second one we did, the more data the better. Actually, I don't know which one of those was first, to tell you the truth, but we did 2 groups. One was a 2.70, and then I measured this one. This is also a 180 grainer, a 1.92 inch group. Kind of the same thing. If you're holding the center of his shoulder, this is going to drop that deer, but nothing too exciting. Now, let me say this. So, 2 groups with 180 grainers, not that good, right? That doesn't mean that this 180 grain core-lokt tipped is not any good. I get those comments a lot. People say, oh, I tried that, Hornady, whatever, and that stuff's just garbage. Well, it may be garbage in your bullet slinger, if you catch my drift. but your buddy might have one. Maybe it's got a different barrel length, maybe it's got a heavier barrel, maybe it's got a different twist rate. It might love these 180 grainers. So that's really the point that I'm trying to get across, is you got to find what works best in your bolt action or semi-auto or whatever you got. And then here's the proof, guys. The proof is in the pudding, people tell me. So just like I was predicting, this thing likes the lighter bulots. So here's the first one that I sent. I think, yeah, this one had to be the first one. So 165 grainers, 1.10 inch group. Real close to a 1 inch group at 100 yards. I would call this a good group. I wouldn't sit here and call this a fantastic, incredible group, but a 1.1 inch group, that's a good group. I know lots of people that can't do that with their particular one. One, either because they haven't done the due diligence to find the weight that their bulot slinger likes, or they just can't shoot. Anyways, here's where it got a little squirrely. We're on the 10, 11, 12, and with the 165 grainers, my second 3-shot group, 2.36 inch group, not good. So I said, well, I think maybe it's getting too hot. We've already sent 10, 11, 12 rounds out of this thing. Let's let it cool off, get a little bit more data for the 165 grainers, because I'm kind of pulling for them. And after I let it cool, after about probably 20-30 minutes, we got another better 3-shot group with those 165 grainers. Measured this one, 1.33. That's another one I'd put in the good category. Not the best group we've ever seen, but that's in the good category. Definitely trust that taking deers at 100 yards. You aim at the heart, you're going to hit the heart. You aim at the neck, you're going to hit the neck with 1.3 inch groups. That's a good group. So, in conclusion, let's go over this again real quick here. You got to test out to see what works in yours. So 180 grainers, I got groups that weren't that great. Then out of 165 grainers, I got pretty good groups. Exact same bing bang, guys. Exact same setup. We fed it 2 different grain weights, 180 and 165. Very different results. Clear results. If that wasn't even foggy, guys, like, oh, maybe you jumped. There's enough data here. 2 good groups. 2 bad groups. And that's really the point that I was trying to get across, guys. So I can't sit here and tell you what's the best one for you. Really, get out there and try it. Get you a good rest. Focus on that trigger squeeze and find out what yours likes best. I know for a fact my Ruger American 308 likes the lighter bulots. You know, in theory, in my head, I always tend to go towards the heavier grain, depending on what I'm doing. You know, if you're doing long range stuff, typically you want to go to the heavier projectiles. You know, when I'm thinking about hunting, I want the heavier projectiles. But if the heavier projectiles shoots a 3-inch group, 165 or 150s is plenty enough boogie, plenty enough sauce to drop a whitetail. You know what I'm saying? So I could literally talk about this all day, but the point I'm trying to get across, one, you got to find which weight, which loading that your particular setup likes. And just because one doesn't do well in your setup doesn't mean it's bad. It'd probably do really, really good in somebody else's setup. Maybe a little bit different twist rate or what have you. But that's something that I think a lot of people have a hard time comprehending. I really hope that I explained it good in this video. But I've been wanting to show that for a long time. If this was interesting to you with the 308, stay tuned. I just filmed the exact same thing with 7mm 08 with different projectile weights and pretty much had the same results. But appreciate y'all watching. Let me know if you have found what your setup likes. I always get a kick out of getting really good groups. I document the footage to make sure when deer season comes, hey, which one was doing the best out of our setup, because that's the box that I'm gonna put in my bag and load up when we go chasing those deers. When I'm catching the deers, I don't want to miss them. I want to smoke them and put them on the wall. Anyways, we've talked a long time for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. We have the best viewers on the interwebs. New video every day. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more videos coming that I'm super excited about. Appreciate y'all. See you on the next one. WHOTEEWHO!
Load it up and get it on as soon as you can. 30-06, 10 mil, 50 cap. It don't make a difference, man. We like to shoot and make a little boom boom. If you like flinging